Evening all. Most welcome to today's session. I hope all of you would have done your final semester project somewhere. The person who is going to give us this session did his project
This
work
meeting is
abroad.
being recorded.
Okay, the final semester. Okay, so the final semester
Voice is
project he did in
breaking, Tushar.
Japan. 90s batch pass out Manoranjan Bhai. It's an honor to have him in today's session. Okay, am I clear now?
Little better.
I can get my tea and
Little bit.
headphone.
In between, you are breaking up, Tushar.
Okay, now is it better?
Yeah, continue, Tushar.
I'll stop the video for some time. I'll just stay in audio. Hey, how is it now? Is it better? Is it better now?
Yeah, better,
Yeah,
better.
yeah, much better.
Okay. Okay. So, how is it now? Is it okay? Okay. Anand is our 96 batch. Yeah, 96 pass out batch. Started with TCL Mindware Bangalore and 96 to Japan. Then in 98 he joined Satyam in Bhubaneswar. Then he was in UK till 2007. From 2001 to 2007 he was in UK. Moved to Barclays there and back to India in 2010, working in RBS. Okay, and handling the team now, RBS. Agreed to take this session for us today. Let's have great time there, and it's a good opportunity for the team now. 25 years of industry experience. Okay. It's a good opportunity to learn from Bhai's 25 years. Huge. Let's use this opportunity. Bhai, the floor is all yours.
Okay, thanks, Tushar. Can somebody confirm that my voice is fine? Am I breaking?
Yes, bhai. Your voice is fine.
No, it's very clear.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot, Tushar. In fact, I would first like to thank you all the people from the alumni organizing team led by Murli, Tushar, Chida. Chinmay is very active. I know there are few more, but all of you are really, I'm grateful to you. Not only this session, but a lot of initiatives that you have started. So that's definitely going to, I mean, obviously it's helping not only the alumni members, but the current students. I know what kind of commitment is required to do all that consistently of your personal so you all are doing really great. I know most of us from my batch definitely are not contributing much. We are guilty for that, but you guys are doing great, so keep it up. And I feel fortunate to be here, not because of the session but primarily because I can connect myself back to our Bani Vihar Utkal University MCA. So it's nice to get back to those days. It refreshes our memory as well by seeing you all. I see Suraj joining. Thanks, Suraj, for joining. And
Hey Ranjan, hi, good evening. Good evening, all guys.
Good evening. Thanks. Yeah, good. Yeah. So it's really great to be along with you. I can resonate because I see all different batches people. Hopefully, some students are also there. So I feel really excited and happy, and I'll attempt to join future sessions as well when you guys take it. So it's really nice to get connected with you all. Okay, so let's start. Basically, I wanted to share some of my knowledge and experience in Agile, DevOps, um, Scrum, Kanban, Chef, and few other things as well. But I know we have limited time. So what I will do, let me do a quick poll. I'll request all of you to please respond to that poll. I can gauge what kind of audience we have so that I can tailor the level of the session according to the audience. Okay, give me a second. I'm just starting a poll. There will be two questions in that. Just select one of the options in first question and then move to the next question. Can somebody confirm you are able to see the
Yeah, we are able to
Zoom
see the
poll
questions
and
and
you are able to
Ranjan, we are able to see the
respond
questions.
Excellent.
So how you can see the question? Somehow it is not showing for me.
I triggered a feed on your screen.
Nirubhai,
Chinmay, are you
there
able to
must,
see? No?
yes, I am able to see it. Nirubhai, there must be a Zoom icon in your dialog box. Kindly check it. The lower dialog box in your right hand side. Just tap
Okay.
on it, it will appear on the screen.
I could see participants, share screen, and more. So
No. So, what is the system you are using right now?
I'm using a Mac.
Okay. So,
So
the
let
right side
Okay,
corner,
not to worry.
the bottom side, you can see a dialog box opening with the
Not
Zoom.
to worry. In the interest. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Why
Yeah,
take a
that's
break,
fine.
please.
It's not mandatory for everybody. More voice break hoche Tushar?
A little bit, yeah. Break take hoche. Chinu, are you fine?
Yes, first टिके break होता है last 2-3 minutes over ठीक है.
Okay.
Now let me know if it's not a problem. I'll reconnect back. Is it better now?
Yes, it's better.
Okay. Give me a second. I got disconnected from my laptop. In the meanwhile, whoever can see the poll, please respond to it.
Yeah, Ranjan, I could see the poll and I have responded.
Excellent, Suraj. I'll just wait for a few more seconds, and by that time I'll connect back. So I just wanted to gauge what kind of people are from which batch here, and what kind of experience, agile experience people have here. Because I can go to very fundamental level, or also I can talk at higher level, because if we have most of the people experienced, then probably we should have more Q&A instead of going to the basics. All right. Okay.
One more request to all the participants. Can you just rename yourself with your full name or patch, something like that? Because I see there are some people like 1B6583 EBS2.
Yeah.
Kindly rename yourself.
Yeah, good idea, Chinmay. It will be good to know everybody. Okay, so what I see as per poll, which is interesting, is we have good about 4 students, current students, and lot of senior people, 15 plus years of experience, probably maximum number of people. 1 to 5 years and 11 to 15 years are equally divided about 20%, which is good. And in terms of agile experience, have little working experience. That's 58%. All right. And some of you are doing Scrum Master. At least one person, I guess. Is that Tushar yourself? Scrum Master, Agile Coach, RTM?
No,
Okay.
maybe somebody else.
Maybe somebody else. Okay. And have significant working experience. We have one. Anyway, so good. We have good thing is we have variety of people, good mixture of people, and majority have little work experience as well, which is good. No knowledge also significant, about 25%. Okay, I'll try to keep the session as balanced as possible. Right. And I know this 1 hour 15 minutes we have may not be enough, so I'll try to finish 45 minutes, 1 hour in the session, and last few minutes we'll keep for Q&A. But if there are any pressing questions in between, do not hesitate. Please interrupt me, ask me. Otherwise, you can have a Q&A session towards the end. All right. So, why Agile? Agile is a new way of working, right? It's called new way of working. Though it's not new anymore. It started long time back. A lot of industries have really matured over last 15, 20 years. Agile has been there in the industry. But still there are many companies, many industries, either they haven't adapted it or they are quite new, right?
Should I end this poll?
You can, yes, please. Yeah.
Okay.
And Chinmay, am I fully audible now, or
Yes,
should I
it is clear.
try something?
It's clear.
Full clear?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So Agile is, as I said, is probably new to many, but many have been doing this since ages. A little bit of background history about Agile. Before Agile, Scrum started in 1990s. When a couple of gentlemen, they came up with this framework because they thought waterfall method is not working, right? So they came. But then in 2000, I think about 17 developers, including the same 2 gentlemen who invented Scrum, they came together, 17 people came together and came up with Agile Manifesto. So Scrum is existing since 30 years, okay? It's not new. And Agile principles as well as Agile Manifesto is existing since 2000, 20 years now. But still, probably if you see majority of the projects are still waterfall. If not, many call them Agile, many claim that they use Scrum, Safe, Kanban, etc. But probably for namesake, most of them don't use it to the spirit. But to get real benefits of Agile and other things, I think we need to follow them as prescribed. Yeah. So can you see my screen or not yet? I haven't. Give me a second. Let me share my screen. Let me know once you are able to see my screen, please.
Yeah, it came by.
Okay. All right. So as you see here, waterfall, I think all of are familiar. We have studied. The students also must be already studying their SDLC, right? Software Development Lifecycle, where we do a project goes through a waterfall method, analysis, design, requirements, etc., and then development and testing, then release to production. What it takes typically in an industry, I can talk about banks where I have worked so many times for so long. Uh, some of the typical mid to large sized projects or programs takes about 2 to 3 years. That's the life cycle, lifetime. It takes end to end to get to production. What happens by then? By then, everything becomes obsolete, right? So the technology that we started to work with 3 years back, based on which we have done design, architecture, etc., that has become obsolete. The products that we use, vendor products that we use, of the cell products, that becomes obsolete. Most importantly, the business requirements also becomes obsolete, right? After 2 to 3 years of going through the implementation of a project. So this is definitely not working. This is not giving the right business benefits. Stakeholders are not happy. That is when this Agile Scrum was invented. And what we are doing here now, we create small feature teams. And the feature teams within a project, they are called cross-functional, right? What it means is no longer you will have isolated analysis team, business teams, design teams, development teams, testing team, not like that. You have small teams, a size of around 8 to 12 people. Ideally is about 9 people, where you have, it's a cross-functional team. What it means is you have everybody to deliver a number of features independently from that team. You have the business representatives there, you have developers, designers, testers, everybody there, right? So like that, what you are doing, you are delivering certain number of features of a product or of an application in small sprints. And if you have you are delivering a large program or a large product, then you can have n number of such feature teams. You can have 500 people working on a large program, where even if you have 10 people per feature team, you can still have 50 feature teams working under a release train. So what's the benefit? The natural question is, how do we do this? Unless we do a complete full analysis, design, and then start doing the development, how do we do it? How do we deliver certain things to production in chunks like this, right? That is what we will see. I think this picture might be familiar to most of you. Right? So what it says is, think as a business, right? Think as a business owner. What happens if I go in a waterfall model, right? I am spending a lot of money for a project which might give me some benefit after 2 years or 3 years, because that's the timeline of a project. What happens after a year or 1.5 years, due to certain reason, if I don't have a budget to proceed? Okay, now we are going through pandemic, or there could be n number of reasons my budget is cut, or certain things, my requirements have become obsolete. I want to change the direction of the program. I want to invest my money somewhere else. What happens after 1.5 years or 2 years? Because it's not complete. What I have only lot of documents, right? I have design documents. I have lot of PPTs. I have requirements documents, only Word documents. There is no deliverable which I can use, right, as a business. What do I do with that? Complete.
By one more problem I have seen, the people
Yeah.
who have captured the requirement, they would have already resigned from the company and moved to other
Yes.
project.
Absolutely. So that's also a problem. So think from business perspective, I don't get any benefit down the line until 2 to 3 years, right? What you see in this picture, this diagram, that Mona Lisa, right? So instead of just doing a lot of documentation even before I start painting it, I just think about the design, how it look like, all that I do, and at last I start painting. That's one way of doing it. Instead of that, I do in an iterative and incremental model, right? I do 1, 2, 3. At least there is something to use, right? At the end of, if you see third iteration, still the product is shippable. Whoever the customer is buying it, he at least has something instead of just plain paper and documentation, right? And now if you think in a real scenario, right? Suppose you are a new startup bank, online bank. You don't have anything, everything you want to do on an online platform. And you start with a waterfall method. How long it might take to stand up the bank? At least 3 years until you develop everything. Your core banking systems, your internet banking application, your mobile banking application, or n number of things that comes with that. 3 years. So what will happen to your business? You can't start the business by that time, right? By the time your competition will take over. What if I start in an agile way? Okay, then I start delivering feature by feature. I develop only core systems. Then I start with few features in an internet banking and keep on adding few features and keep on going live every 2 weeks or every 2 months also. That's fine. I keep on adding features to it. That makes a huge difference instead of waiting for 2 to 3 years for seeing my fast output going live. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. Just is the change in mindset. Waterfall versus agile. If any pressing questions, any fundamental doubts, don't hesitate to ask now. Otherwise, I'll pause after a logical point to discuss. Or add any views from your side also, from your experience, please. Okay, this slide talks about the difference between, again, the mindset, the thinking. Agile is nothing but an empirical process. Empirical process means it is not well defined. Lot of scope for innovation there. That's because every 2 weeks, if we do something, we retrospect what we have done, what we have delivered, how we can do better, get early feedback from your customers, from your stakeholders, and build on that idea, use all your learnings and improve in the next iteration, which is just after 2 weeks. So a lot of scope of new learnings, new innovation, new creativity there. But if you follow waterfall, most of the time it follows a defined process. We just go down the route where we try to utilize what we already know. And the first opportunity that your customer or your users get a chance to give feedback is only when the entire application is ready after 2 years. And that's too late, because either your users may find that a lot of the requirements have been misunderstood or not met, or they may have changed their mind. They may have gained additional insight from the market, from the industry, and they would have changed their mind in requirements. So what happens? Whatever we deliver that doesn't fit the bill at the end of such large investment. This is the manifesto I was talking about, right? So again, many of you might be familiar. The right hand side is our conventional style where we follow all the processes, tools, lot of documentation. Go with contract. Contract is between your suppliers and yourself. Not only that, internally with your users also. What is the contract with your user? Just a signed off user requirements document, right? That's a contract. So we stick to that. What happens at the end, when you go back with your application, then user says, no, I don't like this. It doesn't meet my requirement. Then I say, no, you signed up. 2 years back, you signed up. So you have to accept it. Maybe he's forced to accept it, but what he will do, he will throw it in the dustbin because it doesn't meet his requirement, right? So what we are saying is those things are not as important as face-to-face, verbal, individual interactions. Talk to people. Be ready for change. Deliver working software. Collaborate with your customer, your users and stakeholders instead of sticking to the rule book. Instead of saying, no, you have agreed to do, you agreed earlier to do this, so I have delivered this. No? Collaborate with them and be ready for change. Welcome change. Responding to change means welcome it. And that is where the Agile, lot of frameworks, methodologies that we have, they support this. Okay. No more going through numerous change request approval process. Because the framework itself allows for your customers, your stakeholders to change their mind any point of time. Every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, if they change something, we can still accommodate that, right? So your customers are happy. Your team is happy because every 2 weeks they're delivering something which is going live. Even if they're not going live, even if the release happens once in 3 months, at least they know they have worked hands-on, practically on developing something which is tested and which is ready as a shippable product. Your team is happy because they will not find under tremendous pressure because they are the people who are going to decide the scope, right? So it is a win-win for everybody. We'll see how. So far, let me take a quick break. Maybe one question, anybody?
Manoj bhai, this is Nilamani.
Yeah.
So there is something also in the market coming like design thinking. So
Yeah.
is design thinking somewhere emerging with Agile? That's my question.
Yeah, I think, yeah, all the new trends that is coming, if you see, they're all aligned with each other. Design thinking, Agile, DevOps, and cloud, right? Cloud technologies like microservices, everything is interrelated. And I think to get maximum benefit, we should try to use all of them together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks.
And Nila bhai, if you'll allow, Manoranjan bhai wanted to add one point.
Yeah.
Yes. So Nila bhai, this design thinking already has been integrated in SAFe, that is Scaled Agile Framework, as a part of customer centricity.
Okay.
Yes. And Manoranjan bhai, one question. See, we talking about, I can understand when the things go happy flow, like business, architects, developer, tester, designer, DevOps, engineer, all should be a part of this Scrum team. And when, as business part of this, business can easily approve or quickly approve on time and part of the changes and contribution. But unfortunately, what happened most of the time, the people, business owners we work with, they work in waterfall for decades. Point one. Point two, when even if they come to as a part of the Scrum team or the whether either Scrum team or part of our SAFe team, business owners team, still many of the times what happens, maybe business has assigned to them to be a part of it, but they don't have the authority to approve the changes or accept the releases. So normally it happens. Often it happens. So this kind of situation, how we should deal with that?
I'll come to that. So
Okay.
yeah, that's why I said Agile DevOps comes together. Unless you want to implement them together, there is always a conflict of interest, right? So and that is where one of the principle of DevOps is culture.
Correct.
Culture, automation, people. These are the three pillars there.
Correct.
Unless you start it from the top, the transformation always need to start from top.
Correct.
Right? And it needs a cultural mindset change, and it has to flow from there. You directly try to implement at lowest level, at team level, it won't work.
Correct.
And that is where these big consulting companies are making huge money, because in the name of transformation program.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I have seen at least a lot of successful transformations, and I have seen a lot of failed transformations as well. But you are right, that's a very valid point. All the framework we talk about is implementation. Implementation is not difficult. What is more difficult is change in mindset. Yeah. All right. So
True. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mulli. Thanks, guys. Keep it interactive. That way, I'll also take small breaks in between.
Hi, Manavai. This is Siddharth from 2004 batch. I have a question, if I can ask.
Yeah. Sure, Siddharth.
Yeah. So, like any other process, any other product, we have the pros and we have the cons, right? So what we have discussed till now is the pros of Agile over our traditional waterfall model.
Yeah.
So definitely there must be some cons to follow the Agile methodology in our development, right? So if we can list down a few of them, and what are the kind of areas or the principles how we can address those cons as part of our development, software development.
Good point.
Yes, my question.
No, good point. And I can share a lot of my practical experiences, not bookish theoretical things, because I have been doing this at least for directly low-level delivery in Agile for 10 years at least. So one of the biggest disadvantages, we have already talked about the failure if there is no change in mindset, and unless, see this principle, I'll come to that.
Manubhai, shall I add a point in between?
Yeah, please come. Yeah.
So one of the disadvantages that I saw recently, that one of my team member got assigned to a project, and she asked she want to go for 15 days sick leave. Okay, and the manager said no. By the 15 days, you would have moved further, and they had to release her from the project because 15 days is a huge time.
I have a slightly different view there when it comes to leave and all. It's definitely can be managed within the framework. See, if there is an unplanned long leave, the impact will be there everywhere. Waterfall or Agile, it doesn't matter, right? First, I'll talk about planned leave, how to manage. And second is unplanned leave. We'll see how to manage. There will be an impact, but we can manage the impact, definitely.
But this case was by the team member just joined. Before joining, it happened. Before joining, she took the leave. That is why it happened.
Before joining, she took the leave.
Yeah, just she allocated to the team, and she said she'll go for 15 days leave.
Had the sprint started by that time where she joined the team? No. Now then that's what I'm saying. If we don't follow the principles, don't implement it as per the prescription of the framework, it will be a failure. The reason I'm saying, see, as soon as you I'm sure some of you must be doing a lot of sprint planning meetings, right? The first thing you need to decide is your capacity of your team for that sprint alone. For that 2 weeks, deduct all the Diwali, Dasara festivals that you have, all the annual leaves people have, and all the planned leaves that you have, right? Then you know how much is the capacity. So out of, let's say, 10 days, 8 working days, and you have, let's say, 10 people, 80% days you have, out of that 10 planned leaves, you have 70 working days. The team will plan their work for that sprint only for 70 working days, say 70% days. It is a team who will commit to the sprint goal. Nobody else, no manager here. Of not allowing that person for sick leave if it is really genuine. So the framework allows it. It is all how people implement, how people follow it. And if the manager doesn't want to allow somebody, maybe it is a genuine reason, I don't know, then no framework can stop it, right? So the one big disadvantage coming to that I have experienced is what happens. Many teams, they start delivery, but then they realize that they haven't thought about the infrastructure requirements, the environment strategy, architecture and design of the overall end-to-end system and end-to-end connectivity well. They start their delivery, and midway after few sprints or when they are about to release something, that is when a lot of disconnect comes to the front. Then they come to know that, okay, my overall design itself was wrong. Okay, then everything derails from there. That is one big thing. And how to address that also, I will talk about after some time. Second point, as you see here, number 8 here on the screen, this is the biggest disadvantage if we don't again follow it properly. Because see, agile processes will promote sustainable development. What it means, your business sponsors, who is sponsoring, your developers, your testers, users, designers, your vendor, everybody should need to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. It has to be consistent. That's a very, very important thing. What happens? Certain times your development team is too fast, but your business representative, your product owner is too slow. Or the other way, your business team is ready with n number of refined user stories that they want to deliver to meet the market requirements, but your team is not ready. Or your processes are not ready. Your organizational processes are slowing down everything. That's the third element, right? Your developers have completed development, testing, and everything, but your change management process to take it to the implementation is taking a very, very long time, right? It has to be end-to-end, starting from business requirements, business case, until technology, operations team, change management team, everything need to be aligned and then need to move together in a constant pace. Otherwise, again, it's a big failure. You can sustain this challenge in a waterfall method, but not in agile. Otherwise, most of the things that comes to your mind as disadvantage, that could be disadvantage if some of you have been already used to waterfall method. I'm sure you will have hundreds of questions or resistances, right? Or speculations that this might not work, that might not work. My life will become hell if I work on a 2 weeks sprint where I have to deliver a working software, right? All that are myths only. Life becomes much better. That's what I have seen. The team bonding becomes better because they work so closely together, not in silos anymore. Team becomes highly motivated because a lot of things becomes transparent here. The entire team performance becomes completely visible. No more that what do you say, star player attitude going to work. The team has to succeed together. Lot of fun that we have as a team because of regular interactions, day-to-day interactions that we have. Everybody has to help each other. So brilliant, actually. It is brilliant. It has been working fantastically from my experience, from every aspect. Maybe we'll talk about any other issues or blockers or challenges that you might have faced earlier. We can discuss about that and see how we can overcome that.
Manoj bhai,
yeah.
I have one question. Like, this is Banja from 2004 batch.
Yeah.
So one question is like when we compare with waterfall versus this agile methodology, like one thing is coming to my mind, like when we do UAT, like after 6 months, when the lot of development, like say 50% project is done. And in that case, the effort spent for UAT and do that thorough testing by user as well as the development team or the tester, right? That effort and the time that takes versus this agile, like what is the gain? Like what I feel, if we go with agile, then we have to spend more effort from both sides, because you have to go through change management and repeated testing again and again, end-to-end testing again and again, right? Every 2 weeks. So what is like, I'm not sure, like, is there any benefit in terms of the duration of the project, like, and the effort we spent for this repeated activities?
Right. A good question. See, there are two things, right? Overall duration of the project, if you see, I don't have that slide, but there is a nice graph. To deliver the same project, either in waterfall or Scrum model, but ultimately, if you see end to end, lot of industry data is there, where Agile is definitely faster. Faster may not be hugely faster, but faster. But more than that, the benefit is you are giving, by doing this releases, interim releases multiple times, it's called value slices. You are adding value to your business continuously instead of doing it at the end. So your business, suppose it would have taken 2 years in waterfall, and then let's say this you are doing also in 2 years end to end. Still, you are giving huge benefit to your business, because it is not 2 years. Every 2 months, you are delivering value slice, and value slice is measured in pounds and dollars. That is more important than delivering it. And second, coming to a UAT thing, right? Again, see, if you are delivering everything together at the end, the overall UAT timelines is also too high, right? Because they have to do entire system testing. Here, you are doing only for that particular small release, or within a sprint for that particular sprint goal, number one. Number two is, that is where I said a lot of things need to come together. We are talking about DevOps, CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment, and automation testing. So I'm telling you, in most of my recent releases that we had, every day within the sprint, there was a deployment, automated end-to-end testing. Every day we are releasing defect fixes. Every day. Entire end-to-end integration, deployment, automated testing finishes overnight. At the end of the day, the developers just check in the code, okay, and go home. Within half an hour, everything will be ready. Half an hour or 1 hour, things will be ready. It would have been automatically tested in the UAT environment, obviously before that in the CIT, and then it would have been deployed to non-functional testing environment where performance testing can be done the next day. So those restrictions are no more there. I agree there will be a little bit window that we always needed for a manual UAT business testing, which they are fine. They're extremely happy to do that. They will be excited because if you think from user perspective, they will be really happy to see something working at the end of 2 weeks, and that can give their business benefits, because they are the people who are either experiencing the pain of the current system, or they want to get some business, not from IT, get some real business benefits by deploying this application enhancement or a new application.
Yeah, thanks, Manoj bhai. So only like this automated testing, if it is not there, then the deployment of those changes and going through those manual things will be painful.
You're right. You can't sustain. Yeah, you're right. You can't sustain if everything is manual. Half of your sprint will go in that only, right? Deployment, automation, testing. Sorry, testing.
Yeah,
you're right. That's a very valid point.
Yeah. Manoran bhai, one thing I think the missing link here is the customer collaboration side. When we are talking about a sprint release, also the sprint goal of the team, let's say sprint release, if of the today's participant, if they see the value, if you can share with us, when the customer really sees the release and the feedback coming from the customer. Okay, like example is in our case, what we did, our sprint release was straight away going to our customer. Okay, and we used to have even a review meeting with the customer to get their feedback. The sprint review, internal sprint review used to happen with internal stakeholders, but we made sure that let's try even involving the customer, let them see every sprint release, take the release, and in the review let them give the feedback. Okay, that way the customer felt they are also working in agile mode. Okay, they did feel ki, okay, they are out of this agile framework. They thought, okay, they are also a part of the agile to sprint model, 2 week sprint model, and they are also contributing. So bringing the customer, I think we saw a lot of value. Maybe you can also share some of your experience how customer got involved. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So for us, as I work in the bank, customer is part and parcel of the Scrum team from the beginning. Okay. So we have a solid product owner from business or a deputy product owner. That is must. And that person is a business person. It's not a separate role. That person is responsible for business development. So that person will come with the right mindset and right spirit here, because without IT, business cannot thrive. This is no longer a luxury anymore, right? This has become essential. Now, starting from creating a good product backlog, refining the stories, and they've become masters of Jira now. So they've been so closely working with us day in, day out. She and all her business analysts, they will be joining starting from sprint planning every day, stand-up meeting, and they will be driving a lot of stuff. It's not just for joining and answering our questions. They are deeply involved with us. And as you rightly said, at the end of the 2 weeks, the sprint review, when we do the demo, what is happening in our case, I'm encouraging not my development team to do the demo. I'm asking the product owner to do the demo to all the users and stakeholders. That is where they are so excited to be part of it.
Manoranjan bhai, I have a question. I'm Manoranjan from 5. See, as you told, Agile will be releasing the 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 3 months. Okay. So as you all in the banking industry, each delivery, each production deployment before that is something kind of like a security approval in terms of GDPR guidelines. Okay, you may understood. Okay, where the external agency the approval required. Okay, we are so much agile. We are so much so fast to deploying it. How this external stakeholders the approval process going to work hand in hand with us? Can you please answer it?
Yeah, good question. See, nobody, Agile or any of those methodologies, they are not asking you to cut short your governance.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So not doing that. So how practically we are doing it? As I said, there are 2 things. One is sprint, one is release. at the end of every sprint, 2 weeks is a kind of a usual sprint timelines, right? End of that, we are not releasing every time, right? So the release, and now we are following SAFe, where our releases are aligned to the program increment. Every 3 months, the releases are aligned. Okay, it's a rolling window. So how many sprints we get? We get 6 sprints.
Okay.
So, and the last sprint, usually we use for 2 things. One is called innovation sprint. I'll explain what is that in a program increment. And then we use that for all the things that you said. It's not that we'll start in that sprint, but a lot of things will be initiated much earlier in the program increment. But the last sprint will be used for all the governance, approval, change management process, CMRs, MCRs, etc., including a schedule of event, SOE, and implementation window.
Okay. Okay.
Does that answer?
Yeah. Got it. And yeah. And one more question I may ask you.
Yeah.
One of your presentation you told as part of agile process, no more the star performer methodology will not work. Okay, mentality will not work. But all the companies following the rating with the pyramid structure. So how it will work with this agile concept with the rating structure? And
no, very good question. Yeah, very good question. So the star performer is the person who is the biggest team player.
Okay.
In one liner, short answer.
Okay.
So he it's not that he is a controversial thing. It's not like Sachin Tendulkar versus Virat Kohli or somebody, but it's like yes, you have to obviously perform well. There is no doubt in that. At the same time, how best you pushed your team forward, that will be completely visible. As I said, maybe in some future session I'll show you some demonstrations in Jira in terms of how everything is visible there. Everything is visible, right? So what it means is the negative competition that we have in a traditional mindset that we have, right? That I have to do well, I have to show I am the best, and if I show somebody else in the team with whom I'm competing in a slightly negative light somehow, my chances of getting a higher rating is better. That is what is not going to work, because that behavior also will be visible now, and that is not tolerated.
Okay.
So you deliver, you ensure rest of the team also, because everybody is a leader here. There is no manager. Every team member is seen at the same level of a Scrum team or a SAFe team, and how best you are helping others to achieve the team goals, not their goals, but the team goals. That matters.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll move on now. We had a long QA session.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's good actually to be into, because there are a lot of experienced people, and so instead of going through a lot of basics, Q&A also is good. But let's go through few slides for next 15 minutes. We'll utilize the last 15 minutes for Q&A again. I'll quickly run through few of them. So these are, as you see on my screen, these are the different methodologies that we have. I'll probably quickly talk about them. Kanban is a very interesting one. The key principle behind that is to minimize WIP, work in progress. It is invented in Japan. So what they found is the key blocker in terms of improving productivity is minimizing work in progress. It was invented in automobile industry, but then now it is implemented across everywhere it is. So I usually take a training session of Kanban for 2 days with a nice workshop and a lot of games to explain how it works. So it looks very simple, but there's a lot of theory behind it. And it is usually applicable in a pull mechanism type of work frame, primarily in operations, support, etc., where you have a ticketing system, and you have a list of tickets where there is a team, Kanban team, who can pick up work as they get free, and then that work moves in a pipeline step by step until it is finished. All right, that is one. Scrum, that SAFe is a bigger version of, you can say, larger version of Scrum, where you will, at a low level, you will have the Scrum, Kanban, XP teams, different methodologies they can use, and there will be a release train. There will be STs, RTs, etc., release train engineers, solution train engineers, who will be bringing everything together and aligning them with the release goals. We'll come to that. Okay, let's see.
Manoranjan bhai, in the previous slide, what is the number in bracket next in the right side of the screen? Some Scrum 10 or something. Is there any meaning of that?
Let me go back. Give me a second, Murli.
Sure. Right side one, Scrum 9, Kanban 3.
See, it is written. The top one, can you read? REP has over 30 roles, over 20 activities, and 70 artifacts. If you add them all, it becomes 120.
Okay.
Scrum 9 means the ideal size of a Scrum team is 9 people. On an average.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a high-level framework. I think probably for the freshers, people in college, this will be a good view. I'm trying to cover from all angles. So you have a product backlog where you have user requirements. From there, the team during the sprint planning session, which is the first day of a 2-week sprint, pick up the work which are highest value, and the value is defined by the product owner. Then they pick up that work, as I said earlier, depending on, you exclude minus all the leave plans, holidays, etc. Then how many people you have, based on that, how much capacity. You pick up all the work from the top of the product backlog, and then tell this much I can deliver. Who tells? It is the team who decides. Neither manager decides, not business decides, not product owner decides. It is the team who decides that. Product owner has only flexibility of probably reprioritizing something. Let's say, okay, Murli and team, you decided to deliver these 10 things from top of my list, but actually the 11th one looks more important because that will go along with 3 and 4. So can you take out 7 and 8 and accommodate 11? So that kind of suggestions the product owner gives, but neither they can insist nor they can force the Scrum team to define their scope. Then they create a sprint backlog. What is most important, many teams don't do here, is a proper plan. They just create a backlog in Jira, that's it. Ideally, you should break the user stories into tasks, interdependencies of the tasks and subtasks, risks, issues, assumptions, everything. Everything should be forming part of your sprint backlog, because that's your delivery plan for the 2-week sprint. Who will be doing what? Day-wise plan should be there. If you have 5 people, 9 people in your team, a nice 2x2 matrix should come out in terms of who should be doing what on which days. Then only you will have a solid plan to deliver your sprint goal. Then you do the sprint. At the end of the sprint, you do a sprint review where you do it's called show and tell or sprint review or whatever. You do a live demo of your shippable product to your business and users, and then they give feedback. Maybe some of feedback translates into for the user stories, which goes to the backlog, and then the team picks up. This is a quick roles within a Scrum team. I'll skip through few things. This is about backlog. If required, we can have a detailed session on Scrum. I usually take 2 days workshops for Scrum alone, and at least 200 Scrum Masters have done their certification from my training program. So that's a vast topic. I'll not get into details now.
Manoj, one quick question. So
Yes.
now there are various certifications on the Agile. So if you recommend what are the certifications and what are the from which source we should take that certification?
Right. So again, for different frameworks, different certifications. For Scrum, obviously, the most industry recognized certification is CSM, Certified Scrum Master. That's from Scrum Alliance. Okay, and that company is founded by the father of Scrum. Okay, that is one. If you want to do SAFe certification, go to SAFe website. You have certification, SAFe certified professional, and you can become a trainer as well if you take some certifications from there.
Okay.
Similarly, if you want to become a product owner, you have it from Scrum Institute as well as Scrum Alliance. So there are multiple types of certifications, but these are the 3-4 key recognized sources.
Okay. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah, thanks. So as you see, again, this kind of things, the entire Scrum project can be managed in a whiteboard itself. If the team is co-located, you can do there. Or if they are not co-located, we use a lot of whiteboarding tools. We use, in addition to Jira, of course, to have everything displayed on one board itself. The entire project plan, requirements, current status, the burn down charts, everything can be there in one whiteboard itself. Nothing can be better than that, right? Opposed to a traditional project where you will have a Microsoft project plan, you have n number of status reports, you have plan view, you have milestone chart, n number of things. Instead of that, you have everything in one board. Obviously, there could be product backlog, which you may not be able to accommodate everything here inside the board. Then you may have to maintain a separate product backlog. But otherwise, the entire project can be managed here, including the release burn down, sprint burn down charts. So the real status of your, whether you are on track or not, you can see from, can you see the burn down chart where it can, for a sprint chart, if the straight line, dotted straight line, as you see, that's the ideal line, because by end of the sprint, your unfinished work should be 0. The y-axis is unfinished work, x-axis is your time. It should be 0. If the actual line, as you see that deep blue line, that's the actual line. If it is above that line, above the dotted line, what it means, you are not on track. You are going slower than required. Then you may have to speed up. Similarly, you have many reports, many different type of reports that you can use. There is a velocity chart in terms that will tell you how fast your Scrum team has been delivering, what is their productivity, how many story points on an average they are finishing every sprint on sprint. So if they are not improving sprint by sprint, then there is some fundamental problem that needs to be addressed. So like that, you have control chart and many other things. Similarly, release burn down chart will tell you. So for example, as I said, in a PI, there are 6 sprints. At the end of, let's say, 3rd sprint, you want to know whether you are on track or not. What will you do? You will see your release burn down chart. Again, a similar thing. Here, instead of number of days in a sprint, you will have the number of sprints in the x-axis, and y-axis obviously will be your entire backlog. Then you will know whether at the end of third sprint, my speed is okay to finish the scope of entire release at the end of the sixth sprint. So you can keep your current release as well as the similar release burn down chart. You can try to forecast for your next release as well. Definition of done, this is basically kind of agreed by the team. Before they mark any ticket as done, every ticket needs to meet this criteria. Okay, these are the different ceremonies within Agile Scrum team. I'll skip them. So, yeah, as you see, this is a sample Kanban board where, as I said, the work goes through this pipeline. Is a flow. Initially, it will be like unassigned or to do kind of list, and then somebody picks up, assigns it to himself or herself. Then it goes through multiple stages until it is marked as completed. So in one board itself, you can see probably the flow of work and how much is work in progress. So there are a lot of powerful tools where you can limit work in progress. For example, at the development stage, right? In that state, you can say the maximum work in progress tickets can be 10. Then what will happen? That allow you to move anything from analysis to development if there are already 10 work in progress items there. How it will help you? Then you will mobilize your team. You put more people in development so that you clear the backlog from there. Sounds simple, but there are a lot of powerful techniques that can be used to optimize the work there. I'll just show one more thing before I stop so that we can use last few minutes for some discussion. So this is a high level SAFe framework diagram where again, some of you might be familiar. Here you have, as I see here, you have the team backlogs. There are multiple teams. So this framework is useful only if you have at least 150 people working in a project. Otherwise, you can use Scrum of Scrums. That is simpler. So you have different small teams. Sorry, is there a question?
No, Manoranjan bhai, I wanted to say this. I think SAFe is for minimum 50 up to 150 people. Whether my understanding is correct, right?
Maybe you're right. I'll cross check that.
Okay,
and it definitely max is not 150. Max can be.
I think 150 or 120 something. No, it's suggested that 150 or 120. I'm not able to recall. I think 120 or 150. Yes.
No, I think the max, because it is at enterprise level, right? We are talking about portfolio SAFe. We are talking about full SAFe. There could be even thousands of people also working at enterprise level. The entire enterprise level program, entire IT of an enterprise can be managed through SAFe, which may have 5,000 people also.
Okay.
So as you see here, there are 4 or 5 different levels of SAFe. You have essential SAFe, large solution. You have portfolio level. One portfolio can have 1,000 people, and you have full SAFe where entire enterprise level. I'm not going there because that's a very complex process. Entire enterprise can be managed as one SAFe. But when you maybe you are referring to one release train. So there can be multiple release trains within a SAFe program.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So you have Kanban, you have Scrum, all these small teams here. As you see here, we do a PI planning at the start of the program increment. That's usually a 2 days kind of workshop where representatives from all the component teams as well as all the Scrum teams they come there and they do a detailed low-level planning, starting from value slices, which value slices they are going to deliver every small release within interim release or within each sprint, and how to achieve that. They come up with a joined up plan among all the teams, along with a lot of risks, issues, dependencies there. You see here, all the teams go back and deliver their work in sprints, 6 sprints. At the end of that, the program may choose to do a release. Again, it's not mandatory to do a production release at the end of every PI. It is whenever it logically makes sense, you can do that. Then you have, obviously, in Agile teams, you have Scrum Master, Product Owner, the team. Here you have the release train team, where you have the release train engineer, your product management, product managers. Product managers are above the product owners, right? One product manager may have multiple product owners under them. Then you have the system architecture and engineering team. They are called BPOs, business owners or business product owners, who are the representative from their respective business teams. Then you have solution architecture, engineering, solution management, and STE, the solution train engineer here. Okay. So here, as you see, parallelly, when the delivery is happening here, the solution train also are parallelly moving with that. And here you have the DevOps pipeline, continuous exploration, integration, deployment, and then you release on demand, DevOps. And right side, you have a lot of support teams as well, and supporting tools and processes. Okay, that's kind of a very high level overview. We can get into details if we get an opportunity in future, but let's use next few minutes, 10-12 minutes that we have. I would like to invite all of you to share your experience or add anything that I might have missed from your side, from your experience, for others' benefit, or ask questions also.
So, Manoranjan bhai, couple of things wanted to share to Siddharth's question. Siddharth was asking about the drawbacks or cons of Agile. See, couple of points. First thing, if you'll see Agile concept, Agile does not say you should test your application. You go to the Scrum, you didn't find anywhere it said you should test it. But still we do, because we follow other engineering disciplines, whether Lean or XP. And second drawback is like, see, documentation, it's get sidetracked. If you'll see that as compared to waterfall. So we miss lack of necessary documentation, but we make the needed documentation. And also, if you'll see the third point, the kind of, for example, we say Scrum meeting should happen for 15 minutes, but unfortunately, our transformation or the people has not well trained, the meeting goes for hours. So again, it depends on the individual how we manage. And sometimes, as you discuss about every sprint, we can change, we can accept the changes anytime. But due to that, also sometimes project easily, you can say, fall out of track. Right. And also, if you think about, Bhanjo was highlighting one part about the testing or UAT and also kind of effort it takes. Same way, even if we'll see Agile, as Manoranjan bhai explained, Agile might take little less time, or sometimes also it takes more time as compared to a normal waterfall. But good part is that you will get a complete acceptable product, where in waterfall it's not. So these are the drawback wanted to share. And Manoranjan bhai, one point, I have one question here. So even if you say slide number 2 or 3, where you are showing the values, right? All the 12 or 14 values of Agile, which is the manifesto. So my question is, even if whiteboard also you explain, we can use whiteboard even if throughout a Scrum cycle. But part is, if you see Agile Manifesto 0.6, it says that best is to have face-to-face communication or in person, right? But nowadays it's not valid. Earlier it was not valid years ago, but now after this pandemic, it's no more valid at all, right? I don't know, people will at least authorities or they have just designed and left? So.
A good point. Okay, first I'll answer the question, then I'll also probably add few more of my perspective to the points you shared, Murli. Okay, first is, see, I feel in spite of pandemic, in spite of the challenges that we have, if the team is really matured, I think still all those agile principles hold good. And much before pandemic, right? It's not possible to always have physically co-located team. Much before that, we have addressed those challenges. None of my teams, and at least I have seen not only in my area, but in other areas within my bank, I have seen all levels of maturity in terms of agile. I have seen highly mature team and at the same time completely immature team. So it depends. And with the Zoom type of, and I'll probably share later a lot of tools free tools that we have. We do coffee table sessions online. We do retrospective online, where you have beautiful tools where we can collaborate. I have Lean Kit as a beautiful tool. I use Moral boards where all the teams come and live you can see, you draw there, type there, 20 people keep on making changes to the board and it is live reflected here. While I see the video in front of me, still I understand the physical connect is missing, but to me, I am seeing less than 10% difference to overall benefits. Had it been a physically connected team or by using all the tools, it is a matter of getting used to it. I'm seeing hardly 10% difference, not more than that.
We had distributed Scrum teams anyways. Distributed Scrum teams were there. Yeah. So technology was used quite effectively to manage distributed Scrum teams even before pandemic.
Absolutely. And earlier, probably people had an option, they had an excuse. Now that they don't have, they're adapting it very, very well. With the current program that I'm working on as a release train manager now, we have 200 people in one project, one program itself. Okay, and I have to kind of bring them all together end to end, 9 different component teams. And I'm not even counting the external teams, but still is working fantastically well. Every day, we will have this kind of release, Zoom calls with 50, 60 different participants. And it's working very well because now people know the discipline, how to make best use of it. So I'm not saying, I think still those agile principles hold good. And now coming back to your previous points, I agree with most of them, but still I won't call them as disadvantage at all. Not that I'm we really get to the right level of maturity, all the challenges that you said can be converted to opportunities. Take one example. I'm forgetting which point you said. One is, can you repeat one point? I'm forgetting.
Couple of points I'll just highlight. Agile doesn't say you should test, and documentation problems. Then also business owner approval, or sometimes doesn't approve, or you will get the including your technical debt. If you have technical debt, business owner might say, "Hey, it's your problem. Why did you mistake? I'll not approve the stories." And sometimes also we take more time as compared to if you go traditional, and due to the frequent changes, we might go off track.
Okay. So coming to, let's first address one by one. Very good point you made. And that's what I'm saying. Once we move at the maturity level, move up, I think most of these challenges I have seen being addressed very well, and we have converted them to opportunities from challenges. Take that example of changes. When we say, see, we welcome changes, right? At the same time, the framework clearly is telling no changes within the sprint. How we are accommodating changes is the product owner and business have complete right to play around in their requirements in the product backlog. Day in, day out, every minute they can make changes to it. Change the requirement, change the priority, change the order. That is how we are welcoming change. But once the sprint scope is decided. You have the stories included within a sprint. We don't allow any change to that. And believe me, after a couple of sprints, your business also will be in line with this understanding. They will not ask for any change. 2 weeks is too short to change their mind. They will get used to it. That is one. Yeah. Testing, no. So again, it depends. But when we say multifunctional team, cross-functional team, we should have. And when you're talking about a shippable product and definition of done, DOD, most of the cases, testing is included in that, because otherwise, a shippable product cannot be defined. You can't, even if you don't release, your product is not complete. It's not a tested product, right? But at the same time, you are right. The team has the authority to decide what is their sprint scope, what is the definition of done for their team. It is not universal. Agile manifesto or agile methodology or Scrum, no methodology is telling you to do, okay, these are the 5 things that need to be done to complete, to say the sprint is complete. It is the team who decides, but ideally, most of the cases I've seen testing, including UAT. Without UAT, none of my Jira tickets are marked as done. So that way you create a shippable product.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Murli. Anybody wants to share? Prahlad, yes?
Hi, Namaskar. I have a question. Okay. See, we have two teams. Okay, we have 2 teams. And basically, you can say like based on the project requirement. Okay, one team is there to product. He's a complete one guy, is Scrum Master, product owner. They carry their meeting every day. Okay. They carry their meeting every day 1 hour. Okay. Even some other, like you said, you have 9 teams or 9 systems. Okay. They collaboratively attend that meeting. So we have other teams members, like 27 applications are there, and they are different owners. Most of the time, what happens, apart from the kickoff meeting and the requirement meeting and overview, okay. So everybody that does not require to attend, so they waste the time. Okay. So how to manage those things? Even if your team is mature in the initial phase, if they figure it out the dependency, they can pull the teams and they can have a meeting together. Okay, that is a hard part, challenging time. So next onward or next iteration, okay, what they do is basically they do have a stand-up meeting, like a stand-up call for 10-15 minutes if any problem is there, and they carry forward all the issues and everything, and they close the issue by that time. Okay. So I believe is that instead of having that 1 hour meeting every day, okay, I used to attend that meeting also, but now I am not attending that meeting at all, unless I was like or right. So how to manage those things? Right.
Yeah.
And one other thing is they are using Kanban, okay, the Kanban dashboard, and they are very much like they're a big team. Okay. So we are also part of that team. Okay. And we individually also manage our project. So how to deal with that one? Because we need a real experience. I know you already have been working so long. We are just working since like the last 2 years. And what happens generally when we talk about this agile, we were doing the agile for this Jira and all its implemented last 2 years. Okay, few of them matured, few of them not, and onboarding is a challenges. Okay, until you have a mature team who already work in Jira and all, they know whom to contact and what to do and how to get the things done. Okay,
the onboarding. Sometimes it goes for 1 hour, 45 minutes like that, right? But once you become mature, every second in that meeting matters because you are pulling the key resources to that meeting. The entire team is coming to only three. See, first principle of that meeting: nobody else asks questions or talks there apart from just one way update. 5 people coming, each one gets 1 to 2 minutes to tell only their updates on what they have done, what they're planning to do, and is there any blockers.
Right.
Nothing else. Just take the round, 10 to 15 minutes max. We should finish that meeting. Go. Then offline, as you said, wherever it is relevant, one-to-one discussions happen. Either it is on the blockers, any questions they have on the starters. It is all one-to-one.
Right.
Number 2, every meeting that you go to or your people go to, unless you effectively manage them, you will find that they are not productive and half of your day is gone in that, right? So again, simple question we need to ask is, any meeting that you are going to or anybody is going to, first question, am I adding value to that meeting? Have a very structured, nice agenda, and clearly mention in this particular slot I'm expecting this kind of people, so that people come and you stick to the time as per the agenda. People come, join their slot, and move.
Right.
And that works. Believe me, that is working.
That's how we are doing. So
yeah,
we are using Zoom only. Okay, Zoom chat, and we are not using any Slack or Teams. But I think you guys are using Teams, right?
Yeah.
Teams,
Thanks, Prahlad.
So and one
So
more
I
question.
have, sorry, Prahlad, give me 1 second. I'll come to you. Come to you. Before that, I know your time, but I'm fine to stay back for a few more minutes as long as you guys want. I'm free.
Yeah, it's also
first. Yeah, before we move, I would request. I'm just saying, from my batch, I have 2 of my friends, Suraj and Jarlina. I think so. I can't see more. I'll request them to share some of their experience and comments.
Okay. Yeah, Ranjan. So I have a couple of points to add here. Just to add to what Murli is saying, testing is not required in the in a sprint or in the agile way of working. I do agree with him. Testing is not required, but we are very much working in a waterfall mindset while working in the agile. That mindset is not going, even if it's a couple of decades old, it is there. And many of the account, even that I am part of the account, I do have business people. They're part of the organization from the 80s, for more than 30-35 years. So they very much work in a very conventional way or very traditional. They don't want to change. And what happens is, we have around, let's say in a sprint, I have 8 to 9 user stories. I have a team of around, let's say 13 to 14 people. They do have segregation, 8-9 are developer, there are 2 to 3 people are tester, 1:3 dev QA ratio and all. But what happens is the testing team go and say, you do the code drop of all the important or complex user stories in the 5th and 6th day. The development team comes back and says, no, we can't do because this is complex. Now I can only do, if it's a 3-week sprint, I can only do on the 11th day or 12th day. But again, the mindset goes in the waterfall.
Yeah.
CI, CD, CT doesn't go. So these are some of the challenges we have, definitely. And now most of the banking industry per se, they are maturing more. Banking in the sense, even financial industry, you can say, both banking, capital market, and insurance, they are maturing more now. because for them the go to market, and that is very important because they are releasing some product, let's say by September or October. They have their own challenges. If they work in the waterfall, they can only go with the Scrum or in the Agile way. And coming back to what Prahlad was asking, that's very important thing. In most of the meeting which I have seen, Scrum Masters specifically send the invite. Let's say there are 12-member team, only to 4 or 5 people who should be part of the daily Scrum. And the daily Scrum should not be more than 15 to 20 minutes. When he sees somebody who is there, who is not invited, immediately he asks him or her to go out, because that is, he is not required. He is supposed to do something else. Okay, so that's the reason. Now it is very much important because sometimes when there are more user stories coming in which are more complex, the time to market is very important. We have a release, product release or something, UAT and all something happening. And now in this particular COVID time, we are moving from onshore to offshore to distributed model. Well, let's say we have around 100 people. 100 people are working from 100 different places now, and 3 different time zone or 4 different geography and all. That becomes very challenging. We get into the Zoom or Microsoft Teams or something. More people join because we are all distributed. And when you're in office, it's easier, right? So some of these challenges are there. And now that we are also inventing how we have to work in a distributed model. We are all there in the office. We go at 9 o'clock, join the Scrum meeting for 10 minutes, come out, you start working on your user stories. And morning 9 o'clock when you get in, invariably it will go for 9:30, 9:45. Usually it will be for 10-15 minutes. So these are some of the challenges we do have, but it has its own advantages also. Initially, to be honest, when I started working the Agile, for 2 years I was not liking it. I started working, I think, in 2009, 2010. That's one of the largest bank in the North American region, Canadian region. I was not liking for almost like till 2011-12. Then I started liking it. When I started seeing the benefit out of the Agile or the sprints and all, it becomes part of you. Because you know that, let's say I'm starting something on 10th August and I have to complete by 26th August, 2 to 3 weeks timeline. So, and immediately you see the result also. Sometime in waterfall, you will see the result next year, but he will get to know immediately. And it has its own challenges because we are parking 8 user stories. Some of them will spill over, will be there. We started working more than the other thing. These are the things are there. Pretty good. But again, you learn from the experience and then you inculcate all those things in your daily work and all. So we'll see, you can reap the benefit. But it was a very good session. I think some of the questions that you are asking or all of you are asking was, it shows that you guys are very much working in the Agile. It is there in your fingers. These are not any theoretical knowledge you are asking, very much practical and from your experience. It's a pretty good informative session actually, to be very honest.
Suraj bhai, namaskar. Got one question. In your experience, how the team has responded to retrospections?
Okay.
Is it whether it is open, whether they have come out with solid action items, whether the action items has been followed up?
Okay. To be honest, as I said, see, initially when we are doing our MTA and all this thing, the Kanban and the Agile, all those things started in the early part of the millennium. You can say 2001-2 timeline. It just started. We never read any of this thing. But when I started working in the, you can say the Gen X and all these people, they read about Agile in their curriculum. So when you work with the people who are 2012, 13, 14 pass out or even a little bit earlier than that, it is easier for you to work. And they have that mindset. It is difficult for me to adapt than those people. It's the other way around actually. Okay, so I mean, so even the problem is because we started career in the 90s and our customer who are, I work with a customer, one of my customer in US, he is 62 years old. And one more person who is 33. So now both work in a very different mindset. The person who is 33, the way he runs sometimes they get little what do you call I mean, not resistive, but not very flexible. Especially in the last people who are in their 20s and early 30s, it's pretty good, I will say, as far as Agile goes. Now, and one more thing, I was in one more customer. It's for the Oshak. What happened? They had 900 people. They are working waterfall model. I think 2017 they changed. 800 people from my company. I work for Capgemini. We are working for that particular customer, Australia, New Zealand Bank, ANZ Bank. And because they are technical architect or the CIO, he's again a 60-plus-year-old guy. He works in that way. So what they brought in is they said they have different portfolios in like retail banking, commercial banking, wholesale banking, capital market, all those things. For each of these, they said this is a tribe. And under tribe, there is the different squads. So each of the squad, they will have multiple pod, and the pod they will have sprint, and it will go like that. So structure, IND, inside data, the data warehouse, all those things. They're all working in silos. So what they've done for the retail banking, everybody is part of one team. For retail banking, no, there is one tribe leader who is a very senior guy. He will be a vice president level guy. He will be having multiple squad. In the squad, they'll be having multiple pod and all. Now, the 900 team is becoming 550. 900 become 550, but the output is more. Even Capgemini is getting more money because billing rate is high and they are working in the pod. It is so it all depending on the changing the mindset also.
Right.
So number of people got down significantly, but the output increased, and they're all. It is last 3 years they had massive success, and this is there in the many of the you can see IT journals and all. They're talking about it. They presented to many IT tech talk and all. It is there. So it has its own challenges, own what do you call limitation also. I do agree from the waterfall, but it has its own beauty and it has its own. I mean, you'll be very happy when you start working in that mindset. Yes, I have to do that in 3 weeks, and I will develop test and come out.
Thank you, Suraj bhai. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Definitely, every team has their own journey of moving to Agile, and they have their own learnings as well. I think we will hear something from Jarlina Appa now. Jarlina Appa, we are waiting to hear from you as well.
With your video, Jarlina.
Hello everybody. Nice to hear you from Manoranjan. It's a very good conversation, and I think it is very useful for us. And thank you, the alumni, and we hope to continue for the next session, and we will wait for it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jarlina, and thanks a lot, Suraj, also for adding your perspectives. They're really, really good.
I think now, Abhay, will time to take a quick snapshot. I think Chinu is waiting. If everybody can switch on the video, we'll try to take a snap. In the meantime, Bhai, off the topic question. So till Chinu takes a snap, please share something about your fitness resume with us. We can't end the session without knowing about your fitness secrets.
Oh, no, that's my number one passion. Work is secondary. In spite of COVID situation, I'm somehow able to manage to do 1 to 2 hours of some sort of workout every day. But nowadays, I think my most favorite one is lawn tennis. So yeah, on an average 1.5 hours every day, 4 days a week, lawn tennis.
Right.
Tomorrow we are going, me and wife are going to Cubbon Park for 10 to 15 kilometers of run. No, 10-15 kilometers